Greetings! Mantore79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game. In today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is D standard formats. Brandt Gates, Blitz CEO Welstra with D-BT09. Alright, let's get started. First up, the ride deck. So first off, we start off with the ride deck. For the cards in this ride deck, we have the Grade 0, Blitz Mechanic Wharton, starting unit. The Grade 1, the Blitz Programmer Strazer. Grade 2, Blitz Technology Researcher, Uber. And the Grade 3, Blitz CEO, Welstra. The starting unit, Grade 0, Blitz Mechanic Wharton. His skill is, when this unit is ridden on top of, if you went second, draw a card. So if you're the second to go in the game and if you ride on top of him, you draw a card. Pretty much a standard skill for the starting units of the D standard format Cardfight Vanguard trading card game. So next up, the Grade 1, Blitz Programmer Strazer. His skill is auto. When ridden on top of, search your deck or hand for up to one Grade 1 product card and put into your order zone. If you search from your deck, shuffle your deck. If you put from your hand, draw a card. So for Strazer, just by riding him onto your Vanguard, you can secure a Grade 1 product onto your order zone to use for your later game strategies. The Grade 2, Blitz Technology Researcher Uber. His skills are, the first skill, action, as a Vanguard, once per turn. Cost, Soul Blast 1, if the cost has been paid. Choose a product from your order zone and operate it. And the second skill of Uber, auto, when ridden on top of, put a product card from your order zone into the drop zone, then search your deck or hand for up to one Grade 2 product card, put it into your order zone. If you search from your deck, shuffle your deck. If you put from your hand, draw a card. So for Uber, his first skill lets you operate a product card from your order zone just by Soul Blasting 1, which works well with the Grade 1 Blitz Programmer Strazer skill, since riding on top of him gets you a Grade 1 product out from your hand or deck, so you'll be able to always have the opportunity to use the first skill of Uber. And the second skill, just by riding on top of him, you get to replace your order card from the order zone with one Grade 2 product from either your hand or deck, thus allowing you to continue building up to your main strategy for the Welstra decks. The Grade 3, Blitz CEO, Welstra, the main Grade 3 to ride in this deck. His skills are, the first skill, auto, as a Vanguard. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, choose one of your products in your order zone and operate it. And the second skill, auto, as a Vanguard. When one of your products is operated, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until the end of the turn. So for Welstra, his skills are pretty powerful. For the first skill, just by attacking, you get to operate one of your product orders in the order zone for almost no cost. And the second skill of Welstra, every time a product is operated, you get to add 5,000 power to your Vanguard. And the best part about this second skill, it's stackable. So if you're able to operate a product on your order zone multiple times in the same turn, you can keep stacking the 5,000 power to your Welstra, making it a more powerful Vanguard to attack with. And with that, we just about finished explaining the deck, the ride deck. So next, let's get on to the main deck. And now for the Grade 1 lineup. For the Grade 1s of this deck, we're playing 3 Grade 1 Blitz Mechanic Iskra, 3 Grade 1 Detonation Monster Bubble Mine, 2 Grade 1 Rough Trample Monster Mega Grego, 4 Grade 1 Planet Wall Dragon, and 2 Grade 1 Set Order Product Incandescent Flame Cannon, Apostle. The Great One, Blitz Mechanic, Iskra. Its skill, action as a rearguard. If you did not operate a product this turn, cost, counterblast 1 and rest this unit. If the cost been paid, choose a product in your order zone and operate it, activate its operate ability. So for Iskra, it's a support card for the Welstra decks. Her skill, if you have not yet activated a product during the turn you activated this skill, by paying the cost of counterblast 1 and resting your own Iskra, she'll be able to operate any product card in your order zone. So for the skill, it's a good way to activate any product cards is operate abilities in the main phase. The Great One, Detonation Monster, Bubble Mine, its skill, action as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If your order zone has a set order, cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost been paid, countercharge 1. So for Bubble Mine, it's a pretty good card to play in your Brandt Nation decks. Its skill, after boosting an attack, regardless if hits or not, if you have a set order active in your order zone, as long as you don't mind moving Bubble Mine from your rear guard into your soul, you can countercharge 1. So for Bubble Mine, it's a good way to not only restock your soul for later soul blast, but to also refund your counter blast to pay for later skills. The Great One, Rough Trample Monster, Mega Grago, its skill, auto as a rear guard. When the attack this unit boosted hits, countercharge 1. So for Mega Grago, its skill is a pretty good skill to play for a Brandt Nation deck. Its skill is simple enough. Just by boosting a successful attack on either an opponent's Vanguard or rear guard, you can countercharge 1. So as long as you've managed to land an attack, regardless of the target, if it's your opponent's Vanguard or rear guard, you'll be able to countercharge 1, thus refunding a counterblast to use for later skills. The Great One, Planet Wall Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard. Its skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel, second skill, Auto. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units. It cannot be hinted at the battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from hand and discard it. So for Planet Wall Dragon, it's a perfect guard for the Brandt Nation. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discard a card from your hand, you can block one enemy attack, but it also features an ability unique to all D standard format perfect guards. When used to guard with while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Planet Wall a potential no-cost perfect guard in desperate last resort situations. And now the Great One, set order, product, Incandescent Flame Cannon, Apostle. Its skill, for skill, after a set order is played, put into your order zone. Second skill, operate, auto, order zone. When this card is operated, choose one of your opponent's front row rear guards and retire it. If you do not retire, draw a card, choose a card from your hand, discard it. So for Apostle, it's another product card meant to be played with the Welstra decks. Its skill, when operated, you have the option to retire an opponent's front row rear guards, but if you did not retire from the usage of this skill, you can instead draw 1 card and discard a card. So for Apostle, its skill is a good way to not only wipe out your opponent's front row of rear guards, but to also potentially draw more cards at the cost of discarding 1 card, making it easier to get a specific card you wish to use later in the game. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Great One lineup. And now for the Great Two lineup. And now for the Great Two lineup. For the Great Twos of this deck, we're playing 4 Great Twos, Operate Master, Freiheit, and 4 Grade 2, Set Order, Product, Assault Flight Carrier, Lubizal. The Grade 2, Operate Master Freiheit, skills for skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rearguard circle, if your order zone has a set order, cost counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. If the cost been paid, search your deck for up to 1 card of the same card name as your Vanguard, or up to 1 product card, reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. If you have a Vanguard with Welstra in its card name, choose up to 1 product card from your hand and put it into the order zone. Second skill, auto as a rear guard. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a Vanguard with Welstra in its card name, cost Soul Blast 2. If the cost been paid, choose a product card from your order zone and operate it. So for Freiheit is a support card for the Welstra decks. The first skill, Just by calling to the rear guard while a set order is active on your order zone, you can pay the cost of Counterblast 1, discard a card from your hand to search your deck for either another copy of your Vanguard or another product card and add it to your hand. And then after the skill is activated, if your Vanguard is Welstra, you can immediately play any product card from your hand straight to your order zone. So for the first skill, it's a good way to not only secure another product card to play into your order zone, but to also secure a Persona Ride if you're at grade 3 when you use this skill. And the best part about this first skill, if your Vanguard is Welstra, after adding the card to your hand from the skill, you have the chance to add any product card, including Freischutz Maximum, from your hand straight to your order zone, thus securing you a Freischutz Maximum, which normally cannot be played without relying on other card effects to add to the order zone, ready in your order zone to play later in the game. And the second skill, when attacking the opponent's Vanguard, if your Vanguard is Welstra, by paying a Soul Blast of 2, you can operate a card on your order zone. So for the second skill, it's another support skill for the Welstra and product cards. Just by attacking the opponent's Vanguard, as long as you don't mind paying the cost of Soul Blast 2, you can choose any product order in your order zone and operate it to activate its skill. And the grade 2 set order product Assault Flight Carrier Lubezal, its skill, first skill, after a set order is played, put into your order zone, auto. When this card is put into your order zone, if you have a Vanguard of Blitz in its card name, draw a card and soul charge 1. Second skill, operate auto from the order zone. When this card is operated, if it is your main phase, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 unit card from among them with a grade less than or equal to your Vanguard. Call to rearguard circle, shuffle your deck. If it is your battle phase, draw a card. So for Lubezal, it's one of the product cards meant to be played in your Welstra decks. The first skill, just by deploying this card onto your order zone, if your Vanguard has the word Blitz in its name, you can draw a card and soul charge 1. So for this first skill, just by simply playing this card into your order zone, you can not only restock your hand with more cards, but also soul charge 1, giving you more cards to soul blast with later on. Any second skill, when operated from the order zone, it has 2 different abilities depending on which phase you activate it. If activated during the main phase, you have the chance to check the top 5 cards of your deck for a unit card whose grade is equal or less than your Vanguard and call to the rearguard circle. And if you've chosen to operate it during the battle phase, you can draw a card. So for the second skill, it's not only a good way to fill out your rear guards if you choose to operate it from the main phase, but it's also a good way to restock your hand of more cards if you choose to operate it during the battle phase. And with that, we just about covered the deck's grade 2 lineup. And now for the grade 3 lineup. And now for the grade 3 lineup. For the grade 3s of this deck, for playing 3, grade 3, Blitz CEO Welstra. 2, grade 3, Aben Robust. 3, grade 3, set order, product, Mobile Fortress of Obliteration, Freischutz Maximum. The grade 3, Blitz CEO Welstra. Since I already explained this card and its effects and skills during the ride deck portion of the video, I'm just going to skip ahead to the next card. The grade 3, Aben Robust, skills for skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rearguard circle, cost, counterblast 1. If the cost been paid, search your deck for up to 1 set order and reveal it. If your order zone has a card of the same card name as that card, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. Second skill, auto as a rearguard. When this unit attacks, choose 2 set orders with the same card name from your order zone. If you choose 2 cards, this unit gets plus 10,000 power until end of battle. So for Aben Robust, it's a pretty powerful card to play in your Brandt Gate Nation decks. The first skill, just by calling it onto the rearguard circle and paying the cost, you can search your deck for any set order from your and reveal it to your opponent. And if you already have a second copy of that set order that was revealed by this skill on your face up on your order zone, you can add it to your hand. So for this first skill, it's a good way to secure yourself a second copy of an already active set order from the order zone. So if you play decks that benefit from having multiple copies of a single set order on your order zone, this first skill is a good way to secure that second copy or third copy depending on how many you wish to play. Any second skill, whenever this unit attacks, if you have 2 or more copies of a specific set order face up on your order zone, this unit gets plus 10,000 power at the end of battle. So for Aben Robust, As long as you've got 2 of the same set order on your order zone, Abin Robust can serve as a potential 23,000 point attacker from the front row all on its own. And the grade 3 set order product, Mobile Fortress of Obliteration, Freischütz Maximum. Skills: first skill, continuous. You cannot play this card. Second skill, operate auto from the order zone. When this card is operated, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. Choose one of your opponent's vanguards. It gets power minus 5,000 until end of turn. Then cost, counterblast 1 and return a rear guard to hand. If the cost been paid, you can call this card as a 23,000 power, 1 critical normal unit to an open rearguard circle. If you called a card, put that unit into the order zone until at the end of the turn. So for Freischütz Maximum, it's one of the main order cards they play in your Welstra deck. Its second skill, when you operate it, you have the chance to not only wipe out one of your opponent's rear guards, but to also reduce your opponent's vanguard's power by 5,000. And then, if you're willing to pay the cost of counterblast 1 and returning one of your own rear guards to your hand, you'll be able to move your Freischütz Maximum from the order zone to the rear guard to serve as a 23,000 point attacker from the front row. Then at the end of the turn this skill was activated, you can return it back to the order zone. So for Freischütz Maximum, it's a good card to not only clear your opponent's rear guards, reduce your opponent's vanguard's power to make it easier to land attacks, but to also get another attack by using its skill to call to the rear guard circle. And with that, which is about cover the deck's grade 3 lineup. Next up, the trigger lineup. And now for the trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we're playing 1. Grade 0, Star Dragon of Infinitude, Elder Breath, over trigger. 4. Grade 0, Patrol Robo, Decker Cop, critical trigger. 4. Grade 0, Aurora Battle Princess, Loris Yellow, critical trigger. 3. Grade 0, Cardinal Draco and Pyro, front trigger. 2. Grade 0, Piercer of Impermanent Causality, heel trigger. And 2. Grade 0, Aurora Battle Princess, true screen. The grade 0, Star Dragon Deity of Infinitude, Elder Breath, over trigger. Its skill, trigger, additional effect. Double the power and critical of all front row units until the end of the turn. Increase the double its power and critical when activated. So for Elder Breath, it's the over trigger for the Brandt Gate Nation. Like any other over trigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed during a drive check or damage check, you get 100 million power and draw a card, but it also features a skill unique to it alone. When revealed during a drive check on your turn, you can double the power of all front row units on your field, including your Vanguard and rear guard. So for Elder Breath, it's a very powerful over trigger to reveal on your turn. For all units in your front row, Vanguard rear guard gets double the power and critical they had during the trigger's activation, making it easier to either pressure or potentially finish off your opponent with the increased power and critical. The grade 0, Patrol Robo, Decker Cup, critical trigger, skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost been paid, choose one of your units. It gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Decker Cup, it's a pretty powerful critical trigger to play in your Brandt Gate Nation decks. Its skill, at the end of the battle, this unit boosted, regardless if the attack hits or not. As long as you don't mind moving Decker Cup from your rear guard to your soul, you can give one of your other units, Vanguard or rear guard, plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Decker Cup, it's a good way to not only restock your soul for later Soul Blast, but to also give one of your remaining attackers a little extra power to work with. The grade 0, Cardinal Draco and Pyro, front trigger, skill, continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Pyro, it's a pretty powerful front trigger to play in your Brandt Gate Nation decks. Its skill, when used to guard with while your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, it gets plus 5,000 shield, making it Pyro a potential 20,000 point shield all on its own. The grade 0, Piercer of Impermanent, Causality, Heal Trigger, Skill, Auto. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, if your Vanguard's grade is less than your opponent's Vanguard's grade, this unit gets plus 10,000 shield until end of battle. So for Causality, it's a pretty powerful heal trigger to play in your Brandt Nation decks. When used to guard with while your own Vanguard's grade is less than your opponent's, Causality will get plus 10,000 shield until end of battle, making Causality a potential 20,000 point shield on its own. So for the skill, it's a good way to not only increase your defense, but it's a main defense meant to be used against opponents who play higher grades than you. For example, if you went second in the game, this card will help you stop your opponent from rushing you too early, or if your opponent plays grade 4s and you don't, this defense can help you on later in the game. And with that, we just about covered the deck's trigger lineup. For the triggers in this deck, we're playing 1 over trigger, 8 critical triggers, 3 front triggers, and 4 heal triggers. And now, after having just finished explaining the deck's build and card effects, next let's get on to explain the deck's main playstyle. So for the main playstyle of this deck, first you just have to normally ride your ride line from grade 0 to grade 3, all while deploying your product cards according to your ride line skills. And then by the time you ride to grade 3, Welstra, secure your rear guards. For the first rear guard you call in your front row, try to have a Operate Master Freiheits. Call it and use its skill to either search your deck for another product card like Lubazol or Freischutz Maximum, or a Persona Rite like Welstra. And then when it's after having added the cards to your hand by Freiheits' skill, if you've managed to fulfill the conditions, if you already managed to secure yourself a Freischutz Maximum to your hand, either by drawing it normally or using Freiheits' skill to add to your hand, deploy Freischutz Maximum to your order zone. And then when it's time to, before you go to the battle phase, next you, on your other front row rear guard, try to have a Aberrant Robust to call to the remaining rear guard. Use its skill to search your deck for another copy of Lubazol, and then add it to your hand, then deploy to the order zone. Then when it's time to, before you go to the battle phase, you can use your Iskra skill to operate your Freischutz Maximum to retire your opponent's front row rear guards or any of their rear guards, and then to reduce their power by 5,000. And then in the battle phase, try to attack first with Freiheits. Use its skill to Soul Blast 2 to operate Freischutz Maximum to retire another one of their rear guards and reducing their Vanguard's power by 5,000. Then when it's time to attack your Vanguard, use its skill to operate again. Operate Freischutz Maximum, retire another one of your opponent's rear guards, and to reduce their power by 5,000. By this time, you've operated 3 times, reducing your opponent's Vanguard's power by 15,000, making it normally negative 2,000. And then using Freischutz Maximum's other skill to return one of your rear guards to hand, Freiheits to your hand, and deploy Freischutz Maximum to the rear guard circle. And then just normally attack with Freischutz Maximum later. And then when it's time to attack with Aberrant Robust, if you've managed to secure 2 copies of Lubazol, like I showed you before, you'll get another 10,000 power, making your Aberrant Robust a much more powerful front row rear guard to attack with. And so yeah, that's the main playstyle of this deck. First, you just normally ride until grade 3, and then on your front row, try to first call Freiheits. Use its skill to secure either another copy of Lubazol, a Freischutz Maximum, or a Blitz CEO Welstra. And then on your other rear guard circle, call Aberrant Robust. Use its skill to secure yourself another copy of Lubazol and deploy in your order zone. Then when it's time to go, before you go to the battle phase, if you have Iskra on your rear guard, use your skill to operate Freischutz Maximum from your order zone. Retire your opponent's rear guard, reduce their power by 5,000. Then in the battle phase, attack with Freiheits. Use its skill to operate Freischutz Maximum again. Retire your opponent's rear guard, reduce their power by another 5,000. Then attack your Vanguard Welstra. Again, use its skill to operate Freischutz Maximum, retiring your opponent's rear guard and reducing your opponent's power by 5,000. if you've managed to operate in this order, you'll be able to not only wipe out 3 of your opponent's rear guards, but to also reduce your opponent's Vanguard's power by 15,000, making it -2,000 if your opponent didn't get any damage triggers during your first 2 attacks. And then you'll be able to use Fresh's Maximum skill to deploy into the rear guard. And then with Admiral's skill, as long as you've managed to secure 2 copies of Lubazal onto your order zone, you can get to plus 10,000 power. So that's the main playstyle of this deck. First you ride normally, use the skills of Freiheit to secure yourself Freischütz Maximum or a second copy of Lubazal or a Persona Ride. Use Admiral's skill to secure a second copy of Lubazal to deploy into your order zone. And then have Iskra ready in your rear guard. Then the main phase, use her skill to operate once. In the battle phase, use Freiheit's skill to operate twice. Then your Vanguard skill to operate 3 times. Wiping out most of your opponent's rear guards and reducing their power to -2,000 as long as there are no damage triggers involved from your opponent's side. Then having another attack ready from Freischütz Maximum and Abent Robust being a much more effective attacker with 2 copies of Lubazal in your order zone, making it a potential 23,000 point attacker, not counting the back row supporter. If you've got a back row supporter, it's 31,000. So yep, that's the main playstyle of this deck. And now, after having just explained the deck's build, card effects, and main playstyle, first up I want to say thank you to all the viewers for watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that, I say goodbye and see you.